I'm here to talk about how religious experience happens. There are two main explanations. There's either spiritual or there's some sort of naturalistic idea behind it, such as a psychological or sociological effect. Spiritual says either God is responsible, or there are some people, particularly on the Toronto blessing, who say it is the work of evil spirits.
Swinburne, in 1979, identified 5 types of religious experience in which people seem to perceive God. Here are they. The first was that it had to give insight into another realm. The second was that some believe we cannot experience God unless He allows us to. The third is that it was often a subjective experience. The fourth was that religious experience could not be checked. And the fifth was that it was difficult to describe a religious experience.
Lots of people seek to explain religious experience in different ways, such as hallucinations. They think the mind can be very deceptive, they say. And Hick uses his rabbit-duck idea, which is basically when you see sort of a vague outline of a rabbit, it's hard to tell whether it's a rabbit or a duck. It's quite a common psychological sort of short test they do on people to illustrate the power of the human mind. Freud thought that the religious experience merely fulfills a psychological need. He said it was a reaction to a hostile world, whereby we create a God, because we need a father.
Hi, I'm Karl Marx, and I think that religious experience is a type of displacement that comes from the needs people feel as part of society.
Jung suggested the archetype deep within us was the need that it fulfilled. And apparently, St. Teresa, according to some psychological theories, was sexually frustrated, and this is what her mystic visions sort of told us. William Sargent wrote a book called Battle for the Mind, where he talks about a kind of group of Christianity called Wesleyans, and like Wesleyan experiences. He said that they came from like brainwashing caused by guilt, emotion, and then some other causes like rhythmic music or clapping or something like that. This isn't really a particularly strong point of view. In fact, it's incredibly weak, but it still survives in some way today.
A.J. Ayer claims that religious experiences are expressions of someone's state of mind, and that they may come from an unbalanced mental state. He claimed that you needed a naturalistic approach in the absence of empirical proof of religious experience. A naturalistic explanation would describe a religious experience as an interaction between the mind and some imagined object. This psychological reasoning is shared by Freud. He claimed that religion is an illusion created by the repression of emotions and experiences, and probably your mother. And that this created mysticism is a regressive, infantile obsession. However, other scholars have countered this criticism that there's never enough empirical proof of religious experience. Richard Swinburne, for example, comes up with the principle of credulity, which argues that testimonies should be taken at face value, and that generally things are as they seem to be in the universe. It's also difficult to say how there can ever be empirical proof for an individual's psychological experience.
Did you know, in 1969, Sir Alister Hardy produced that 25 to 45% of people in the UK have been aware of a presence of power beyond themselves.
James Everett, goalkeeper for Taunton's College. What is your opinion on religious experience?
In which religion?
Any religion. The one you're most closely associated with.
I'm classed as a Christian. I do ask myself sometimes if there is and isn't a God, because I do, like going onto the field, I do say, you know, give the old sweet touch. But it does work out sometimes, and you know, you always think, right, you know, you believe in him, but does he really look out for you? So I have mixed judgments, to be fair.
Okay. Thank you for your time. That's right.
The Toronto Blessing is characterised by incredible laughter, and there's been much debate as to whether this is the work of God or the work of the evil spirits. People have tried, those in favour of the Toronto Blessing, have tried to point out that it does have biblical basis by quoting Psalm 126, verses 1 to 3. When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those in a dream. Then our mouth was filled with laughter, and our tongue with shouts of joy. And all the nations said, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us, and we rejoiced.
Richard Swinburne, a British philosopher, came up with 5 conditions for a religious experience. Seeing God in an object or place which can be seen by everyone, that's the first condition. Seeing God in an event which can be seen by everyone but which is very, very unusual. A religious experience can be private to an individual but can be described in everyday language, or that a religious experience can be private to an individual and easily described. Or a religious experience can be private belief about a person's relationship with God. And there were the 5 conditions for Richard Swinburne.
St. Teresa of Avila said that you could tell whether an experience was of God because it would show fruits of the Holy Spirit afterwards in their lives, such as humility or charity. You can find the other, humility isn't actually listed as one of the fruits of the Spirit, but it certainly is a virtue that Christians aspire towards. And you can find all of the fruits of the Spirit in Galatians 5. Others include generosity, kindness, love, patience, trustworthiness. Yeah, this is so much. Criticisms have been made of the Toronto Blessing because the leader of it, sort of a man named, a South African preacher called Rodney Howard-Browne, it appears, some people claim that he bullies his audiences, the congregations. They say he calls people sad or ugly if they don't accept the blessing, if they're not open to it. And they're allegations, and they are just allegations, we don't know whether they're true or not, that basically he kicks people on the floor and urges them to receive the blessing. And when he's praying for someone, if they haven't started laughing, he'll put a foot on their stomach and basically tell them to start laughing. This doesn't, of course, invalidate, just because this man does something wrong, doesn't invalidate the whole of religious experience. But, we need to look at these reports carefully and find out whether it's true or not.
Rudolf Otto, 1969 to 1937, concluded that there were some similarities between religious experiences. Religious experiences were characterized by awe, wonder, fascination, and mystery. Any fear was overcome by fascination. The people having their experience were all left with a feeling of numinous, the holy other. The people who had had religious experiences were left with a feeling of being dependent upon something beyond themselves. And that was what Rudolf Otto concluded.
De-individuation theory is the theory that when an individual joins a crowd, their self-awareness diminishes. This reduces their self-restraint and their normative regulation of behaviour. So it reduces the normal inhibitions they would feel if unknown. Thus, normally rational individuals are able to join an unruly crowd, and this is because a group environment allows anonymity, and individuals are able to become something they wouldn't otherwise be on their own, because they're in a group of supportive people. And in a crowd like this, such as in the Toronto Blessing, for example, social norms become irrelevant, and people are only influenced by the actions of the crowd. So coming together of like-minded individuals, and they create a behaviour that would normally be considered unsocial.